5 seconds remaining. OG's turn to ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team ban. OG's turn to ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team ban. OG's turn to ban. Ten seconds remaining. Radiant team ban. OG's turn to pick. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team pick. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
Years as it is. Now, on the other hand, Kingdra take out the Nature's Prophet, Nagasiren, and the Chen, but first pick the Nature's Prophet, surprisingly enough. And Elder Titan will follow up soon after. It seems like no matter where I go, Bulldog will haunt me. Before that gets clipped, you know, heads up, that was not spiteful, that was making a joke about the current situation, which probably wasn't the best of ideas. But that being said, it's already been proven that I do not have the best of ideas. However, Elder Titan picked up alongside the Nature's Prophet. On the opposite end, we do see Resolution's Gyrocopter coming through. It's a hero he has a lot of success on with, and Rubik and Gyrocopter being paired up together. It's always a classic dual lane with a lot of defensive and a lot of aggressive laning potential as well. Rubik with the telekinesis, great synergy when you combine it with the rocket barrage, and obviously the defensive capability means that it's a little bit harder to get hunted down by someone like a Clockwork in the 4 position. Of course, Kingdra has revealed their 4 position to be the Elder Titan, but we'll have to wait to see what exactly their game plan is, because the Nature's Prophet first pick is definitely not something that you see every day of the week, and I'm interested to see how exactly it's going to be laned out, and whether or not it will be in a solo lane position. Of course, Nature's Prophet classically is the offlane that goes solo, uses its treants to be able to bring back a couple of creeps, but ever since recent changes, it has been pretty much all offlaners who can actually start to creep cut without even needing those extra summons. One of the many reasons why Nature's Prophet has actually started to fall off in the current metagame. Lycanthrope and Puck being taken out of the pool by Kingdra. Lycanthrope, nothing too surprising. We already saw what No-Tail can do on that hero, and it's scary. It's absolutely scary. Now, that being said, we did see Resolution absolutely pummeling down low TV with a 15-0 Shadow Fiend in the last game of that series. Whether or not he's able to do the same right here is yet to be seen, because we, of course, will be having him on the Gyrocopter instead of down the middle lane. And going for the Gyrocopter early on is going to add that little more of a slight slight handicap for OG, I suppose, that you don't have the power to be able to switch out your heroes in the mid lane, switch out your players in the mid lane if you want to go for something later on that Resolution prefers to play, but No-Tail really isn't too comfortable with going with. Kingdra do as well, pick up the Bane immediately after. And
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team pick.
And that's where Nyx Assassin comes through, another classic counter to the Nature's Prophet. It's a hero that's been seeing a lot of attention being given to it over in the Southeast Asian scene. It's even first banned against a few specific teams, and well, it's definitely very good against the Nature's Prophet, if nothing else. Mana burn late game can be crippling, and early game the Vendetta can just continue on hunting around the Nature's Prophet and making him be much more careful than he would like to be when he's split pushing and teleporting around the map to try and capitalize on all the resources that he can get. Now moving into the core pick. Of course, it should be the mid coming through, maybe. Okay, that's a Dragonite to be coming into play. It's a bit of a flash from the past, so Dragonite and Nature's Prophet, both of them being picked up. It's a decent pushing strategy, but I would have honestly preferred to see maybe something like a Viper coming out. It can be a little bit more powerful at being able to kite out the gyrocopter once his flat cannon has run out of charges. If he's got the Viper strike up on him, he can't really pursue up people too easily. Dragonite gives pushing potential, but Viper with the Helm of the Dominator build these days can do the same as well. OG. They're probably going to pick up S4s here right now. The Beastmaster is still in the pool. It's still definitely very viable, very effective versus the Nature's Prophet as well, being able to give you vision constantly about his whereabouts. And it's not too bad versus a couple of the other heroes that are still in the pool. And more than anything else, it is a comfort pick for him. However, they prioritize No-Tail's pick first and foremost, the pick of the Tinker. And that's going to be going down the middle lane and will be given another opportunity to have like a bit of a lane-dominating mid-style hero, the same way that Resolution did, of course, pick up the Shadow Fiend earlier on.
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
At the same time, now Kingdra will be facing the decision of what exactly to ban now. They take out the Tidehunter, more afraid of the team fight than they are of the pickoff and the global potential. I think Beastmaster is an even better pick now that you have actually gotten the Tinker. You've got the Hawk roaming potential across the map.
10 seconds remaining.
To try and get some great pickoffs combined with the Nyx Assassin and the Vendetta, you can have a couple of players there very, very quickly. And these heroes on the Radiant side aren't too healthy other than the Dragonite. Nature's Prophet, Bane, even to some extent Elder Titan, all are somewhat easy pickings for the Tinker Nyx Assassin teleporting in. So OG, they've got the first pick moving out of this, and I wouldn't be surprised if they do end up going for the Beastmaster. Even though there isn't that big target to be able to roar up in particular, just the roar in itself is always very, very useful. And it's always nice to be able to have one dedicated lockdown ability to attempt to focus someone down. You already have a lot of stuns out in the form of the Nyx's Assassin and Rubik. To some extent, Gyrocopter homing missile can be counted in those as well. May as well add one more to the repertoire. Otherwise, they could also go for something a little bit more damage-oriented. The Razor has not been banned out just quite yet, and it could be an interesting combination to put up towards that top lane alongside the Rubik. Of course, that would put the Nyx Assassin Gyrocopter together, but the Broodmother band comes through and they go for the Underlord. So, more of a defensive kind of hero, more of a defensive style of play. You've got the Dark Rift to try and save out your heroes. They were definitely considering Beastmaster, but I'm surprised that the Razor hasn't been seeing any action whatsoever from either team. Perhaps Kingdra would like to pick it up for themselves. Pretty good against the Gyrocopter as well. The low range on the Gyrocopter can really be punished with the Link to try and suck away all of his damage. Underlord as well won't be having too much of a great time in lane versus the Razor. Now with 20 seconds left on the clock, they need to be very, very quick with their decision.
Now select your heroes.
Razor comes through, they get one of the most desired picks in the current patch as their last pick, surprisingly enough. Now, the problem with the Razor is, of course, going to be that he's not great at dealing with the Tinker, and they don't have anyone who's great at dealing with the Tinker right now. Unless Dragon Eye goes for a Blink Dagger, which is something we've seen in past metas, even the Shadow Blade isn't really enough to rely on to catch the Tinker out. Now, that being said, Tinker is going to be a problem, but Kingdra have got a timing window, and if they can exploit the first 15 minutes of the game into putting themselves in a position where they can comfortably hold OG back at a significant gold and experience deficit, then you have yourself a game that is still winnable if nothing else. And it seems like we are going to be heading into the game. On paper, I will have to say that the Dire Side picks seem a little bit too hinged upon how this Nature's Prophet is going to do. So, on paper, the OG draft is easier to execute, it's easier to get away with. There's a lot more space for error, and that's why I would have to edge them out in favor of winning this game. However, if this Nature's Prophet is able to go ham, then I'm not sure he's a big X factor. It's not a hero that we see very much of as of late, and I'm honestly not entirely sure how this will be played, and it should be interesting to see the answer to that question soon enough, as the pause does come. Dragonite is going to be going for the... probably going to be going for the drums early on. Not entirely sure what I think about that. It gives you a bit more pushing potential, but of course the Shadow Blade is what allows you to keep on catching out the Tinker and try and put him down and keep him down. A lot of this game will also come down to the rotations from the supports on the Radiant side. Again, I cannot stress enough how important it is to shut down the Tinker, but at the same time you need to make sure you don't neglect the Gyrocopter, because if he goes ham, if he starts getting a couple of kills on his lane versus the Nature's Prophet, which can definitely be caught out, then that's going to be a difficult situation for them to deal with as well. Laning stage might be switched out a little bit from what it seems like. They might be expecting the Gyrocopter to come into an aggressive dual lane, but S4 revealing himself, and this should be perhaps the call for the Nature's Prophet to rotate back over. And as I say that, Gogsy, where are you going? Where are you going? S4 tagged down heavily. Salve is ready, so he should be perfectly fine. Just backing off. They've got the movement speed, actually. So this might be a little bit more problematic than I thought it would be. Calling back the Spirit. This should be first blood coming through. One more right click from the Treants, and indeed, S4 goes down. He's chased down, and a good start to Kid and his Nature's Prophet. Big Daddy No-Dill in the middle lane. He's going to have a free lane win unless there's a couple of rotations coming through. The Tinker versus Dragon Knight is a matchup where DK should never get a kill and should never really be able to deny too much farm to the Tinker. However, Cancel is definitely capable of getting his own farm too, but that farm Tinker is slightly more deadly early on than farm Dragon Knight. Faded. Playing very aggressively close to resolution. He has to do that so that Fly can't get close enough for a lift. He knows that he's got the boots, so resolution going in for a rocket barrage wouldn't be doing too much damage whatsoever. And although this flak cannon will be helping out, it should also be doing some serious... Oh, actually, hold that thought. Elder Titan will continue forward. He's got a bit of extra damage to speak of as well. It will prevent the pull from happening, and that means that Kid will have a slightly more fun time as he did TP back over towards that top lane and leaving Gorksy down towards bottom, where he's going to face off against S4, which is again just a very, very good matchup for him. So far, I have to say Kingdra have set themselves up to win these lanes out pretty handily, other than perhaps mid, and even mid isn't going too badly with No-Till being pressured down to an HP pool where he can be ganked on pretty easily, so he needs to be careful, and he will be playing slightly more defensively as a result of that. As soon as Virya gets that Echo Stomp skilled up, then he should be able to start rotating down towards the mid lane, doing some more damage. Fly picks up Virya, lifts him and throws him right back to be able to acquire that bounty rune. While Jabs will also just be sticking around at level 1 and considering the possibility of rotating over towards that Tinker, but in the meanwhile, Jerax on the next assassin is looking to get busy in the vicinity, as he will be coming in from behind to try and catch out Jabs. While all that goes on, Gorksy will attempt to zone back S4, but S4 will be able to take advantage of the fact that these creeps are going to be in experience range nonetheless. And Cancel again. I like how he's playing. He's really exploiting his Dragon's Blood to the fullest, really just making sure No-Tail can't be feeling too comfortable with getting these last hits. Although the lack of mana will mean that No-Tail is still perfectly fine. Secondary Gauntlets of Strength coming through. That isn't something you see every day of the week. What's that coming out in the courier? It is the Soul Ring. Okay. So he will have the mana he needs to be able to sustain in this lane. And that will be the Soul Ring build-up coming out from him. I expected the drums, but I suppose that makes sense as well. S4, having had most of his damage sucked away from him, will attempt a last hit with negative 14 right-click damage. Probably not the most fun thing in the world. And Cancel, well, he's pushing No-Tail back, especially now that this Elder Titan has come over. No Stomp so far, so No-Tail can still feel pretty okay with this. Elder Titan getting a bit more damage for himself, is trying to play around the positioning correctly so that he gets a few hits from the Astral Spirit out onto Roshan as well. Just add a bit more right-click power.
Radiant are scanning.
And Gorksy will continue to pursue up S4, making sure he can't pick out the bounty rune. And if he did actually go for that, that's where the Bane would have come in from behind. And look at this, actually, Bane's still going to continue forward. S4 is being targeted down. He doesn't have his boots, and Gorksy is punishing this. Plasma Fuel will give him the vision he needs. S4 being punished, and there's nothing Jerax can do about it. He's not level 2 yet. He went for the mana burn first, so no stun, no spike carapace, and that means that it's a quick death. The second one for S4 so far. Kingdra are doing a pretty good job of this. Fly and Resolution have not been giving us the same show that we normally expect, but Nature's Prophet has been forced back to try and get some last hits out of the jungle, and in the process of doing so does actually go pick up the double damage room while he's at it. And with Sprout skilled up, this could be a kill on the fly. Should the Stomp come through? Is he level 2 yet? Yes, he is. And Stomp is going to be setting up for a... Ooh, look at the damage. Look at the amount of damage it deals. 150 or so HP taken away. That's the power of the phase boots combined with everything else. Cancel is not going to be too affected by this mana burning Nyx Assassin. And notice how Cancel positions himself. It's always quite nice to see players who are very, very skilled from pubs and who don't really seem to shine as brightly in professional games for whatever reason. They definitely bring a lot of skill to the table in the middle lane in particular. So Cancel, as soon as he notices a laser having come in on him, he immediately stops his animation, cancels the backswing, moves forward and tries to zone out the Tinker with his positioning if nothing else. And No-Till obviously has to respect that, being at such a low HP level at that particular point. Always very nice to see. Underlord as S4 gets slightly unfortunate. The timing's just a little bit off. If he was slightly faster, could have caught out the entire creep wave. But look at Jerax. What's he doing? He's actually stacking up the Ancients for Resolution to farm up later on. No-Till playing much more defensively. He has got a ward to make sure this Elder Titan can't come through onto him, but that doesn't mean Elder Titan can't continue to zone him away. Dragon Knight level 6.5. Look at how well Cancel's doing in terms of experience and as far as that goes. And now they're going in on him. They managed to get the Sprout out, but from the back lines comes Jerax with the Impale, getting the kill onto Kid, and Big Daddy No-Till will try and TP away. Will be successful in his endeavor to do so. Stun used earlier on, and with only a level 2 Dragon Breath, Breathe Fire, it just simply isn't enough. 2 points in. His Dragon Blood will be quite nice to help him regenerate back up, but it simply isn't enough. Top lane, TPing up, is going to be some heavy fire put onto Faded, but in the meanwhile, Gorksy is the carry we needed to keep an eye out on again and again. He's just zoning out S4, forcing him back and getting more and more kills on him. It's 2 kills so far, and S4 has been suffering at 3 total kills. OG definitely not having the laning stage that we would expect from them, especially now that Cancel has chosen to very quickly use up his dragon form and start harassing down No-Till even more. And from the back lines, if Biryu is able to get a good stomp off, then No-Till shouldn't be able to live through this. And now No-Till's actually backing off. He's using the teleportation scrolls low cost to its fullest, doing whatever he can to make sure his HP pool stays healthy enough to fight off this Dragon Knight. That's what you have to do when you are up against a Dragon Knight who has so much HP regeneration just naturally, and when you add in the +2 HP regen from the Soul Ring as well, it's even more difficult to deal with him. Lies inching around the tree line, trying to find out where Biryu is. He's located him, but the Tinker can't come through in time, so he's just going to go back and keep on farming his way up, while Tinker, okay, Big Daddy No-Till is farming up as well. The Ancients are being farmed up by him. I thought it would be Resolutions later on, but as I say that, Nyx Assassin takes a fall on the sideline. This time it's going to be Kid to do the trick. S4 is trying to body block him up. Actually, no, S4 is trying to run away after he gets a Bantune, but these streams will come through with the block themselves. One more right click. Gorksy is on a killing spree, and all 3 kills have been on S4. 50 last hits to add to the tally as well. This man is having an absolutely monstrous game, and he could be the trick for them to win over here, but No-Till, again, trying to force them back, will be able to do so with quite a bit of damage coming out on the Cancel. He needs to be careful. Magic Wand is there, will end up using it, but do they have any catch to actually catch him out? Wow, redundancies in my phrasing. Brilliant. Isn't that just brilliant? Doxy going forward, doesn't have too much damage stolen away, but he just forces out a laser, and he's content with that. And meanwhile, Resolution seems to be the only person who's convincingly winning his lane, and even he's having a counter gang coming into him. Cancel comes through, he's got the stun, he doesn't want to use it just quite yet, and Resolution's trying to fight him off, will be unsuccessful in doing so. Now using the speed to his advantage with Resolution, it's only a matter of time before he goes down. One right click from Jabs will do the trick, and he's level 4.5, 9 minutes in. Not doing too hot in terms of experience, not quite hitting that level 5.5, close to 6 mark you want to have when you're at that 10-minute mark ideally. But it's not doing too poorly either. Fly is prioritizing his own experience, prioritizing his own farm to some extent as well, as he will be going down towards the bottom lane, which was neglected by S4 once he did leave for that middle side, and Tinker did leave to try and farm up these camps. And well, Tinker's been getting quite a bit done across the map, so his last hits may be very high, but those last hits are inflated because Razor is the one on top of the net worth chart. 4,700 gold on him. He's doing so well right now. Phase boots, drums, magic wand, Aquila, everything he could possibly want early on in this game. And they're going to try and maybe translate this into a tier 1 tower too. This level 1 dragon form is coming off of cooldown in 8 seconds. The poison breath onto the tower is always very nice in terms of laying siege. Berio just circling around, making sure the pressure is there, making sure Jarax has to maintain his position and can't go up towards that level 6 mark. Stomp's gonna catch out. Oh, nicely done. Interrupt the Stomp as well. So Jarax just uses up his Spike Carapace, and with that, Nature's Prophet ultimate will come flying through. Gorksy gets one. On the backlines is Kid trying to tree up, trying to sprout up No-Tail, but No-Tail's too quick to TP away. Razor now is going to be able to back his way off. In the meanwhile, Dragonite once again survives with a sliver of HP. No-Tail's going to try and bring him down, but the vision isn't there. Yes, it is. They've got a ward, and they will be able to finish him off. In the backline, Nightmare goes on to No-Tail. There won't be a trade as Jarax makes sure that No-Tail will be able to get away to safety. And No-Tail does indeed TP right back. Resolution almost level 10. He's doing very well for himself, gold-wise and everything else that he could possibly need. So Jabs will be his next priority to try and take down. Jabs could try and Nightmare himself, but instead, actually, it's the enemies that are put to sleep, and Jabs will be able to back his way off. Brain Sap is still ready as well, so if he wants to heal himself up a bit, then he can do so, but it's only level 2 Brain Sap, so he should prioritize going back to the base. Now, Dragon Knight. He's going to have Fly trying to run away from him, but Jarax is here to try and save the day. Sun will land this time around and cancel. Well, oh, nicely done. Faded comes in. Kid will be able to get that kill onto Fly, and this Nature's Prophet is working overtime. He's doing quite a lot for them so far. They haven't been able to catch out the Tinker, and that's the one big failing that in this particular chain of events. He's picked up his boots of travel at a reasonable time given all the aggression that was taking place in the middle lane. Those stacks definitely helped out a lot more than they should have been allowed to do so. Gorksy and his Eye of the Storm attempting to go for another kill, in the meanwhile was unable to do so. 91 damage stolen away, so he's not going to be someone you want to try and fight up against. Dragon form is stolen away by the Rubik. Let's see what he can get done with it. Shouldn't be too much. Earth Spirit will catch him out once the Storm came through, but they don't have any follow-up. Nyx Assassin as well is trying to waddle his way over on those tiny little Carapace feet. And cancel, stands out the Gyrocopter. Only going to be a nuisance and nothing else. Won't be trading any hits. He knows that there isn't any backup to come through. The Nature's Prophet could have TP'd. Actually, no, he couldn't have, because he went towards the top lane and he's looking to find out where No-Tail is instead. No-Tail, though, will be safe, and No-Tail actually interrupts his teleportation instead, and he looks like he wants to go back in. He's got the rocket, so he can actually keep on chucking out a little bit more. And I like what No-Tail did over there, actually. He realizes there's a few players coming through because of that ward that they did have to scout out. The Nature's Prophet faded, gets scouted out himself. Jarax will be linked up, but that Spike Carapace will not be helping him at all. Fly comes in with the Dragon form. He doesn't have very much HP to back it up, though. In the backlines comes in, call down on 2 people. The secondary hit will not even land before Jabs goes down, and Kid needs to try and back off. A Sprout could try and cover his tracks, but he doesn't want to turn around for that one. Simultaneously, S4 is getting some much needed respite from this Razor. He is behind the Elder Titan when it comes to farm. S4 is not having a fun game right now at all. Gorksy being paired up against him with the Razor versus Abyssal Underlord matchup is just a bit too much. No-Tail is also just going to continue to take advantage of all of the neutral crabs situated close by. But unfortunately for him, he doesn't realize that Cancel did come in from the sideline, did get that invisibility rune, and that's actually going to give him enough money to be able to go for the full Shadow Blade soon enough. And about 180 gold, that's the first skill they've gotten on Tinker, and that could be the first of many as soon as the Shadow Blade does come through. No-Till's been having a very good performance so far, but now it's going to be a little bit harder now that they have a bit more cash to back it up. Jerax has been scattered out. They've got the sentry ward to be able to do just that, and sleep comes through. With that being said, it will be the death of Berrio as he kills himself on the spike carapace, and S4 gets a secondary kill on the cancel, catching him off in the back lines with the help of Resolution.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Kid will TP up towards that top lane. They don't have the Dragon Knight, but with the tower being as low as it is, it shouldn't be too big of an issue. Tinker, be careful. You might not want to TP in over here, and indeed he doesn't. Laser comes through, so Gargcy is going to be forced to stand inside the march as well. He can't get anything done. Big Daddy No-Till getting very, very low because of the continued Soul Ring usage. You need to use your magic wand over here, Gargcy, and indeed he does. Still has got the movement speed to be able to try and back himself off into a position safer to TP out of, but Jerax with a long range impale will finish him off. 600 more gold added to his pockets as the unstoppable streak gets ended. OG, despite having a shaky start to the laning phase where they weren't really dominating, they were somewhat coming out on evenly except for the colossal Razor. Now they're looking slightly more in control, but they're not out of hot water just yet. Dragon Knight reveals his Shadow Blade preemptively without being able to use it, but let's see whether or not OG will slip up and allow him through their ranks into the back lines. Now, well, as I say that, the back lines will be populated by Jerax, who is in pursuit of a very speedy Elder Titan. Windlace plus Tranquil Boots, and you've got yourself a hell of a race car to deal with. Jerax, he might just choose to switch his targets away. I love how he's actually built this as well, and I'll talk about that in a second. Cancel getting stunned up, and well, he's going to go straight up into the Shadow Blade. Comes into use as soon as he gets that right click out. There will be no opportunity to use another Spike Carapace. Dragon Breath is stolen away, and it might be used to finish him off over there. Instead, S4's Firestorm will be just enough to get the last hit. Meanwhile, Stomp comes through. Tinker's going to be caught out. There is a Fiend's Grip ready, and he will use it immediately afterwards, barely keeping himself alive despite the march being there. Somewhat lucky from Jams that he was able to stay alive as long as he did, but now they need to be on the retreat because the Resolution's coming through. He's slowed up by the Stomp from the Ancient Creep. That's an unfortunate situation to be seen, if any. Now, Cancel does get caught out over there, but for a 1-for-1 trade versus the Tinker, I have to say, that might very well be worth it, especially with the amount of time that was wasted for OG. But OG very quickly transition that into a tier 1 tower. They won't be wasting any of the heroes that they have actually pulled through. An S4 preemptively casts the Dark Rift, is a bit afraid of the teleportation animation. Flies, sees exactly where Rubik is not Rubik, sorry, sees exactly where the Elder Titan is, and Elder Titan will not be able to stop that teleportation from coming through. And I was talking about this earlier on. Jerax has actually gone for the level 4 in the Spike Carapace because he's up against the Elder Titan. So he wants to be able to use the Spike Carapace as often as possible to try and stun up the Elder Titan, try and return some damage. It would be a lot more impactful though if he didn't have the Tranquil Boots, which allow you to obviously regenerate up regardless of any spell usage fairly easily. Meanwhile, No-Till has got his Blink Dagger now completed as well. Backs off. His farm has been slowed down a little bit because of those 2 deaths, but he's still keeping up. But speaking of farm, Resolution is now on top of the net worth chart. Despite Razor being a sizable lead up ahead of Resolution, 600 or 700 gold at 10 minutes in is pretty big. Now it's the roles have been swapped out. Resolution has gotten himself back up to par, and he's going to be smoking up with the rest of his teammates to be able to try and find something or the other, and something will be found in the form of the courier. Jerax will be scouted out. If they go in on him, this is going to be the bait. Accepted. Jerax, though, unfortunately for them, they don't realize there's a Shadow Bladed up Dragon Knight in the backline. Sentry Ward is dropped. Cancel is caught out in the backlines. The call down is going on onto the 2 support heroes who will not be able to give backup, but backup comes in the form of Kid and Gorgsy, who have caught out both S4 and Fly. They take a fall, and on to Resolution they go. This rocket will catch out. Who's it going to catch out? It's going to catch out Beryu, who very quickly dies to that. No-Till trying to come in and salvage what he can from this team fight, but it's still a 2-for-1 so far. And Jab's able to TP away, will make sure it remains at a 2-for-1. Cancel, getting aggressive underneath 2 marches. This is an interesting decision to make. And might be time for him to back off soon after, but from up top comes the resolution. He's shot down. Oh dear. Oh dear. He's shot doing that homing missile, and that's all they need to kill off Cancel as well. Where it started off being a 2-for-1, it very quickly turns into a 2-for-2, and with Cancel going down, that trade is very much not worth it. Faded is going to be scouted out by Jerax. This is what I talked about. Nyx Assassin is constantly going to be stalking where exactly Kid's location is, but they might choose to go on jabs instead. Fly on this Rubik is continuing backwards towards his own side of the map because he feels too afraid without any backup. As that goes on, the OG are slowly closing in onto Kingdra, depleting any map control that they had. And although Kingdra do, of course, have this one lone ward, beyond that, there's basically nothing as far as vision goes. OG, on the other hand, have started establishing control of the entirety of the jungle, not just the traditional south side, which they already have a reasonable amount of control over because of the fact that their lanes are constantly pushing in. But look at this smoke coming out from Kingdra. They're going to be heading up towards the gyrocopter. They scout him out, but that's not the target you can go onto easily. They want to be able to engage, but down below is where they go. S4 is caught out once again, but they're using so many abilities on him, and they're taking so much damage as a result of that. Gorksy, BKB is up, is trying to chase up after No-Tail. No-Tail will be going down. He doesn't have the power to laser him down when the BKB is still rolling. Cancel almost gets caught out, sidesteps the Impale and will be able to get his way away to safety. This, oh dear, never mind, take that back. Underlord didn't go down, and he just comes in from the side, combines his Firestorm with the damage from the homing missile, and now it's on to Nature's Prophet. They go. Rubik stole that away. They're able to get one kill, turn it into two, and Garcia and Jabs aren't doing too healthy for themselves either. So Resolution, if he's able to close the distance, he can get a missile. That would be the end of either one of them. First teleportation scrolls are ready, but they want to be able to go up towards the top lane and pressure that up a little bit. However, with the TP coming through from Resolution, not even the tower kill will be going their way. Suddenly, where OG started off at a massive deficit, the kill score will be misleading you. They are very much in control of this game right now.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Resolution. Oh dear, actually, forget about that, as bottom lane is where No-Tail might be helping set up for Jax to come get a kill after one more wave if Cancel stays, and this will be potentially Dread Dragon. Fly as well, just continue to farm away towards that Blink Dagger desperately desires. They've got to start getting some sentry wards across the map, or maybe even look to invest into a gem. It's very difficult for anyone to carry it, but if Cancel plays slightly more defensively, then now with the Hood of Defiance up and rolling too, he should definitely be tanky enough to warrant getting it. Unfortunately, the disadvantage of a gem is always that it somewhat forces you to 5-man around the player who has it, and that's something that Nature's Prophet in particular doesn't want to do, and he can't carry a gem for sure. Force Staff is up on him, but how much will it really be helping you? Scythe of Ice is en route as well. And that's a slightly difficult scenario though, isn't it? When you normally would like to have a Blink Dagger Scythe of Ice initiation. Nature's Prophet not the best Blink Dagger carrier in the world. There was a bit of a patch where he did like going for the Phase Woods Blink Dagger plus the Orchid Malevolence. It was definitely a very interesting time for us. We saw a lot more aggressive posturing from Nature's Prophet early on in the game, and that's something similar to what Kid was able to pull off early on, but transitioning that into the mid game, they aren't keeping map control. And I'm not going to blame their draft, to be honest. Their draft has worked out slightly better than I thought it would be able to. Kid's definitely shown his power on that hero, but it has to come down to OG's decision making later on. They're just choosing better fights. They're putting down sentry wards at the right places. Look at how exactly they've put down sentry wards on the Radiant side now as a result of everything that they've had to fight through. This is so much gold being invested into these wards, and Bane, as a result of that, is sitting down below at 1800 net worth only. Compare that to the next person in the list. He is just about tripling it. Not really tripling, but well above doubling. My maths isn't really great now, is it? Cancel. Going for the BKB as well. Gorksy already showcased his. It's still at 9 seconds, but cancel. You might want to back off over here. Flies come through to provide backup. He's got the dust. He's got the lift if he wants to go through with that, but doesn't choose to use it just quite yet. Instead, No-Tail moves forward. Will be force-staffing through as well. He's gone for a supremely mobile build. Blink Dagger and Force Staff, surprisingly enough. And he will be going for the Aghanim soon after, but I suppose that's just the luxury of not having to defend. Oh dear, not having to defend high ground. Gorgsy almost going down. Will be able to get away for a little while longer, but S4 is still in pursuit. That's the Force Staffs coming through. Blink forward, Force Staff forward. This Stinker's got so much mobility, and he will continue to use it. Now the Atos comes through, and Gorgsy will go down. Free for nothing. Kingdra forfeit the Roshan off the back of this, as they die right next to the pit. In the meanwhile, bottom lane, Jerax will have his Meteor Hammer up and rolling. That's an interesting one. Let's see how that goes and how that's going to be used. No-Tail. If No-Tail can come through and they have an Impale to back it up, the Meteor Hammer could actually do quite a bit of damage. It's slightly harder to take down the Dragon Knight as it is because of how tanky he is. 2000 HP on him, combined with the Hood of Defiance. Obviously not the easiest hero without a lot more burst damage, but Meteor Hammer might be interesting to see over there. However, Roshan is being taken down, 600 HP on it, but they want to take this engagement soon enough. However, Elder Titan will go down. Soon after that, it will be Kid to fall on the back lines. Cancel wants to go in onto Big Daddy No-Tail, but Big Daddy No-Tail will be perfectly fine. Aegis is picked up by Resolution. He's in pursuit. The Atos comes through, and they should be able to finish him off as well soon after. Like I said, he's very tanky, you know. That's the benefit of having a Dragon Knight on your team. He goes invisible once again, but they should be able to finish him off easily done by them. And now still in hot pursuit, as Gorgsy is caught out by the Atos, the Force Staff. Okay, Gorgsy's got a Force Staff of his own, actually. I just noticed that. There's a lot of Force Staffs coming out across the map. It's pretty useful versus the Atos, I suppose, when you can see the projectile coming especially. But now comes the time to try and turtle things out. OG are caught out pretty hard. Ibiryu will be seeing the rocket chase right by onto Gorgsy, who will be perfectly fine, but is a little bit irked by the amount of magic damage being pumped out by Big Daddy No-Tail himself. And in the meanwhile, it's going to be Gyrocopter again. The question now comes in, how exactly does Kingdra defend high ground? Now, they do have the Dragon Breath spam, they do have the Elder Titan Spirit spam, so there's definitely a possibility existing. But now that the scan has actually caught out their smoke and they've been forced to back off as well without even finding the Lonely Rubik, Resolution with the Lincoln Sphere up and rolling. He's got his Aegis for another couple of minutes. This is not going to be an easy hold whatsoever for Kingdra. To pull this off would require monstrous levels of split push, monstrous levels of turtling, and just making sure all these waves are constantly pushed out. And even then, you'll have to take a fight eventually. And well, Jerax is looking to take the fight to them. Coming in from the back lines will be both Rubik and the Gyrocopter, and keeping in Big Daddy No-Tail going through. There's a BKB up from Gorgsy. He wants to take down one with him. He knows he's dead to rights anyway. If he can take down Big Daddy No-Tail, maybe at least he can save his teammates for a little while longer. 70 seconds more bot without the Tinker, but they might actually want to keep on going and force out the buyback from Gorgsy. They're definitely in a position to be able to do so, but that would be a risk that they might not be willing to take. However, 70 more seconds is still decent enough there and then. That trade-off, very much worth it. No-Tail TPing in a bit too soon. Tier 2 will definitely take a fall though, while all of that happens. Butterfly next in the list for Resolution. And it seems like, okay, Razor just bought something up. Will not have buyback. Contestation going on towards the mid lane, where all of the aggression from the dire side will be stopped. But hey, Resolution now is going to try and take down this tower. Cancel moves forward. Lincoln's already been triggered. They're initiating onto the Aegis target. This might not be the greatest decision of their lives. Fiend's grip up as well, but Resolution is not dying. From the backlines comes Kid. They're going to be able to initiate, but counter initiation finally is there. Jarax makes his way over. Meteor Hammer dropping as well. Keeps the Dragon Knight stunned, and Resolution still alive. His Aegis has not gone down. Finds one kill and turns it around. Cancel being caught out. He's getting low. Dragon Knight may be tanky, but he's not enough so to survive. But no detection will mean he can re-engage soon after, as soon as he wants. Maybe S4 will be his target, but Resolution still has got that Aegis with the Immortal. No Tail does not refreshes, blinks back. That's the advantage of the refresh. You can actually blink back despite the 3-second cooldown that should be there. Resolution's had enough. He wants his HP back. He dies on purpose, and now Cancel will die. Not really on purpose, but there's nothing voluntary about his death. Let's just leave it up to that. Resolution fighting everyone and everything off, and now he's ready to go in once again. He's replaced his Aegis with a magic wand, and let's be honest, the magic wand might have actually allowed him to live in that fight anyway. So many spells being used, and he was so tanky with his positioning as well, the way he was positioning himself defensively. And now Resolution, Lincoln's has been procced, and his tier 3 tower will be taking a fall soon enough. No Dragon Knight means no defense, and are they backing off? They shouldn't be backing off over here, not at all. 20 seconds still left on the clock before Dragon Knight comes in. You can try and get a bit more damage onto the melee or range racks. Range racks more likely than not, but instead they play safe and they say they don't want to end up losing anything. They've already seen how much damage the Razor can do once he's stolen away enough damage and he's taken away enough armor using that Eye of the Storm.
Radiant's top shrine has fallen.
And over here, Resolution walks right down. Bottom lane is where the action's taking place, so Nature's Prophet once again being caught out, and that's the problem of how dare this. There's the cavalry coming through. And that's the problem of fighting up against Tinker and Nyx Assassin. They just have so much global. Now with Nature's Prophet on the sidelines, no buyback either. He was their Hex carrier, remember that. He was a big hope that they've got, because they can definitely take down the Gyrocopter. They just need sufficient disable to be able to do so. And well, actually, scratch that thought, they might not be able to take him down anymore. He's got the full butterfly up and rolling. He doesn't care about buyback. They've got more than enough outer tier towers that they don't have to worry about high ground. And Jarax, he's got the blink dagger queued up. Meteor Hammer's been interesting to watch, though. He's gotten a couple of stuns out here and there. It's more for the fun rather than anything else from what it seems like. But in the meanwhile, Cancel's actually a bit too far away to try and save this tower. He does have a teleportation scroll. Will finally use it. This is their call to start to go in. Resolution will need to have his Lincoln's proc. Do they have a gem on them? Doesn't look like it. Actually, yes, they do. S4 sees him. He doesn't realize this, so double force stop comes out. This Tinker's perfectly fine. Triple force stop. Gorgsy as well. 4 force stops. What's going on over here? Gorgsy keeps on going through. Fly should be taken out as well. The Atos is going to be holding him back for a little while longer, but Gyrocopter has still not been able to take down this tier 3. Stun missed once again from Jarax. This has not been a great game for him as far as impales go, but once again, Shadowblading up Cancel. His regen's insane. That's the good thing about being a Dragon Knight. You can always re-engage. His BKB is a bit too far away, unfortunately for him. But here they go. Here they go. Back towards the middle lane goes Tinker, and S4 is forced out forward aggressively. That's the Hex to come through, but immediately there's so many force stops on everyone called out to follow through. Cancels will be slowed up, and now blinking forward. They're in hot pursuit. Blinking forward. No-Tail gets 1. No-Tail gets 2 with 1. Actually, never mind. Resolution was the one to finish them off with his flat cannon hits. And 26-19, GG is called. 34 minutes in. OG, despite what looked like a shaky start, their later mid-game decision-making, late-game decision-making is just too much to deal with, and Kingdra will end up bowing out soon after.